Most gun owners make one mistake at a traffic stop that hands the officer everything he needs to search your car, take your weapon, and charge you with a crime. And they do it with a smile on their face, thinking they are being helpful. Today, I'm giving you the one phrase that shuts all of that down cold. And once you hear it, you will never forget it. Before we go any further, do me one quick favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Why? Because 90% of gun owners are missing critical legal updates just like this one. And I do not want you to be one of them. The next few minutes could genuinely keep you out of a courtroom. So subscribe, stay with me, and let's get into this. Here is the scenario. It is a Wednesday night. You're driving home. Nothing is wrong. You're doing the speed limit. Suddenly, there are blue lights in your mirror. Your heart jumps. You have a legally owned firearm on your hip. You pull over. The officer walks up to your window, leans in close, and says, "You got any weapons on you tonight?" You get nervous. You want to seem cooperative. So you say something. And that something is exactly what gets you into serious trouble. I have seen this happen more times than I can count. And every single time, the gun owner walked away thinking they did the right thing. They did not. But after this video, you will never make that mistake again. Let's start with something most people do not know. When an officer pulls you over, that is called a lawful traffic stop. You're legally required to pull over, stay in the vehicle, and provide three things only: your driver's license, your registration, your proof of insurance. That is it. That is the full legal requirement of a routine traffic stop. The officer is not legally entitled to anything else from you. They cannot require you to answer questions about where you're going or what you have in your car. And in most states, they cannot legally require you to announce that you are carrying a firearm. Now, I said most states because this is where it gets important. And this distinction is the thing that trips up even experienced gun owners every single day. There are two types of states when it comes to carrying a gun and talking to police. The first type is called a duty to inform state. In these states, the law requires you to tell the officer you are armed the moment they make contact with you. You do not wait for them to ask. You tell them right away at the first point of contact. States with this requirement right now include Texas, Ohio, Michigan, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Alaska, and Hawaii, among others. If you are in one of these states and you say nothing about your gun during a stop, you can face a misdemeanor charge, permit suspension, or even criminal penalties. Staying silent there is not a right. It is a violation. The second type of state only requires you to disclose if the officer directly asks you. States like Florida, Arizona, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, Wisconsin, and others fall into this group. In these states, if the cop never asks, you are under no legal obligation to bring up your firearm at all. And then there's a growing third group of states with permitless carry laws where there is no duty to inform requirement whatsoever. The number of these states is now over 29 and climbing fast. Here's what I need you to do right now. Before your next drive, look up your specific state's duty to inform law. I'm serious. Pause this video if you need to, because knowing whether your state requires immediate disclosure could be the single most important piece of legal knowledge you carry with you every day. If you're getting value from this video, wait until you see what is coming next. I'm about to cover the exact 4-word phrase that closes the door on a vehicle search before it even starts. And my next video goes even deeper on what to say when police ask specifically about your gun. Subscribe right now so you do not miss it. It is information every gun owner needs, and almost nobody is teaching it. Now here's the part that shocked me when I first started researching this. A lot of gun owners believe that the officer already knows they're carrying before they even walk up to the window. They think it pops up automatically when the cop runs their plates or scans their license. And I understand why people think that, but here's the truth. In the majority of states, your concealed carry permit lives in a completely separate database. The officer may have absolutely no idea you are armed. In some states, yes, the permit links to your license. Michigan and Texas are examples where an officer might see your carry status on their screen. But in many other states, that information is invisible to them unless you hand it over yourself. So if you are in a non-duty state and you volunteer that information without being asked, you have just given the officer intelligence they had no access to. And some officers, not all, but some, will use that information as justification to have you step out of the vehicle, take control of your firearm, and start looking around your car. You thought you were being transparent. What you actually did was open a door you did not have to open. Here is a hypothetical example to explain exactly how this plays out. Let's say a man named Ray is driving through a state with no duty to inform requirement. He gets pulled over for rolling through a stop sign. Ray has his carry permit. He is armed and legal. The officer walks up, and Ray immediately says, "Hey, officer, just want you to know I've got a firearm on my right hip." The officer thanks him, asks Ray to step out, secures the weapon, and then says casually, "Mind if I take a quick look in the car?" Ray, not wanting to seem like he has something to hide, says, "Sure, go ahead." And just like that, Ray has consented to a full vehicle search. Whatever is in that car is now fair game. The ticket was for a stop sign. The search was for everything else. And Ray let it happen because he wanted to be cooperative. Where the law is where the Fourth Amendment comes in. And this is critical. The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution protects every single person in this country from unreasonable searches and seizures. Under the law, a police officer cannot legally search your vehicle during a routine traffic stop unless one of three things is present. First, you consent to the search, meaning you say it is okay. Second, the officer has probable cause, meaning they have specific and observable evidence right in front of them that a crime is happening. Third, they have a warrant signed by a judge. Those are the only three doors. And the easiest door for an officer to walk through is the first one, because you held it wide open for them. Now, here is the game-changing news. In July of 2025, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals decided a case called United States versus Wilson. The court ruled that an officer's suspicion that someone might be carrying a concealed firearm is not, by itself, enough to legally stop or detain that person. Why? Because in states where concealed carry is broadly legal, carrying a firearm is considered a presumptively lawful activity. You cannot be treated as a suspect just because you might have a gun. Exercising a constitutional right is not a crime, and that ruling protects you. Look, 73% of the people watching right now are not subscribed to this channel. Do not be in that group. Join the thousands of gun owners who get these legal updates before they need them. Not after hit that subscribe button right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it might save you years of legal headaches. So now that you understand the legal foundation, let me give you the phrase. Say this out loud right now so it sticks. The phrase is this: I do not consent to searches. 4 words. I do not consent to searches. That is what changes everything at a traffic stop. That is the phrase that closes the first door. The moment you say those words calmly and clearly, you have exercised your Fourth Amendment right. The officer cannot claim you gave permission for a search because you explicitly did not. They must now find actual probable cause or get a warrant. And in most routine stops, they have neither. So the stop ends, you get your ticket or your warning, you go home. Now I want to be extremely clear about how to say this phrase, because tone and delivery matter just as much as the words themselves. You're not starting a fight. You're not accusing the officer of anything. You are not being aggressive. You are simply stating a legal fact about your position. The tone sounds like this: calm, even, steady. Officer, I want to cooperate with this stop. I do not consent to any searches. That is it. No raised voice, no lecture, no debate. You state it once, clearly, and then you let it sit there. Now here is the follow-up question I always hear. What if the cop searches anyway? What if he ignores what I said and looks through my car? This is important. If you have clearly stated that you do not consent and the officer searches your vehicle without having probable cause or a warrant, that search may be ruled unconstitutional. Any evidence discovered during that unlawful search could be thrown out of court. This is called the exclusionary rule. It is one of the most powerful protections the Fourth Amendment gives you. But here is the part you absolutely must hear. You do not physically resist. You do not touch the officer. You do not block the search. You state your non-consent once, loudly enough for any dash cam or body cam to pick up. And then you comply physically and let your attorney fight that battle in court. Never fight your rights on the side of a road. That is how people get hurt. Fight it in a courtroom where the law is on your side. Let me put the whole protocol together for you right now so you can walk away from this video with a complete game plan. First, when you see the lights, pull over safely and completely. Turn on your interior lights at night. Put both hands on the steering wheel. Wait for the officer to speak first. Second, if you are in a duty to inform state, disclose your firearm immediately and calmly. Say something like this: Officer, I have a valid concealed carry permit and I'm currently armed. Fourth, if the officer asks to search your vehicle, say these exact words calmly: I do not consent to searches. Fifth, if the officer asks questions beyond your 3 required documents, you may say, Officer, I'm respectfully exercising my right to remain silent beyond what is legally required. The Fifth Amendment covers you there. Sixth, if the situation escalates, stay physically calm, comply with lawful commands, and call your attorney the moment you are free to go. Write down or record everything you remember about the stop as soon as you can. Here's one more thing that almost nobody talks about. What happens in states where your carry permit is already linked to your driver's license, and the officer already knows you are armed before they approach your window? That changes things slightly. In that case, you should confirm calmly that you are carrying and tell them where the firearm is located. That is respectful, and it builds trust. But the non-consent phrase still applies the moment they ask about searching your vehicle. Carrying a legally permitted firearm is never by itself a reason to search your car. That is not probable cause, not legally, not according to the Fifth Circuit, not according to the Fourth Amendment, full stop. This information has a shelf life. Gun laws are shifting faster right now than at almost any point in modern history. Duty to inform requirements are being updated. Permitless carry states keep growing. Federal courts keep issuing rulings that change how police can interact with armed citizens. Subscribe right now because my next video is going to cover a new legal development that every gun owner in this country needs to know about before it affects them. You do not want to find out about it the hard way. Here is everything you need to take away from this video in 3 sentences. You have constitutional rights at a traffic stop, and you do not have to give them away. Whether or not you must disclose your firearm depends entirely on your state's duty to inform law, and you need to know that law before you ever get pulled over again. And if an officer ever asks to search your vehicle, the 4 words that protect you are, "I do not consent to searches." Say it calm, say it clear, and say it with the confidence of someone who knows exactly what the Constitution guarantees them. If this video helped you today, please hit the subscribe button right now. This channel is built entirely to make sure law-abiding gun owners, like you, never get caught off guard by a law they did not know about. Share this video with every gun owner you know, because the person you send it to tonight might be the one who stays out of trouble because of it. Stay safe, stay legal, and I will see you in the next one.